And I was right. When the spring market came, like we were 25, 30% again in January and February. And then March, I did like a 75% increase March over March. It was huge.
That's pretty crazy.
April, same thing, but then that real estate market got so hot. All of you guys kept coming down from Ontario and putting your prices way up, and then no one's putting inspections on, and our business went like this and it dipped down. It's not gone, but it went a little bit lower even than 2019 numbers in May, which was not what I was suspecting. I was expecting for it to continue to grow.
Hi there, my name is Lynn.
My name is Martin May. Together, we run New Brunswick property deals where we connect savvy investors, both local and from out of province, to off-market properties with amazing cash flowing potential.
So whether you are a first-time home buyer or an experienced investor, we can find you your next investment property here in New Brunswick.
As someone that was a realtor before and entrepreneur and business owner across multiple fields within the real estate world, how are you making sense of the Moncton real estate market as a whole? What are you seeing? What do you think is happening here in Moncton?
It's been a wild ride the last couple of months. It's been really, really interesting. And I really thought I had it all figured out. I had a handle on it for a while there. I'm going to talk, I got a couple slides on this. So first of all, I'm going to put it in perspective a little bit. So when I started the company, it was me, myself. I did a lot of inspections my first year, about 450 or 500. I did a lot. I worked a lot. But then as I continued to add people and grow, I did it because I had the business. I was turning away so much business that I had to hire people because I was turning away so much. So as I got up in business and added employees, I always watch our market share. Now, market shares, it's kind of a weird metric in the home inspection industry because there's some missing information. I know how many MLS sales there were. I don't know how many private sales there were. I know how many inspections I did, but I don't know how many actual inspections were done by everyone. So it's not a real number, but if I keep using the same formula and looking at it, it's at least a metric I can track, right? So after the first 2 or 3 years in the business, when I had probably 3 to 4 inspectors, I was running around 35% market share. So I would look at the total number of MLS sales and the number of my inspections. And I assume that 100% of the people that bought MLS got an inspection. So that's my market share calculation. I'm not taking into account the private sales. I'm not taking into account the people that didn't get an inspection. Maybe they even out. I don't know. It doesn't really matter as long as I compare. But I was consistently staying there, which is the important part. I wasn't growing. I wasn't shrinking, I guess.
That's right.
Then I ended up the last couple of years, I'm going to say before COVID, right before COVID, even at COVID, we were around 42% market share. Well, there's 29 different inspectors in Moncton and 9 of them are on my team. So I can't do 100% of the business. That's really cocky. And it's not fair. And I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm not trying to monopolize this industry. I'm trying to have a positive effect on it. But I did still feel, like I said earlier, that there was still room for us to grow. And there was still people that we want to educate and talk about. So that's why we wanted to expand other markets, because I can't expand this market anymore. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can a little bit, but I'm a fool to think that I'm going to make that 80%. It's not feasible. Okay, so having said that, now I'm going to show you some of my numbers on inspections. So this top graph is the bottom line was 2016. The next line up, the blue one was 17, the green one was 18, and the orange one was 19. It was how many inspections we were doing each month. So you can see they followed a fairly consistent pattern. That January, December is when I'm trying to figure out how to pay everyone. And then May is like, let's go on vacation. So it followed that same pattern. And I have graphs like this that are weekly, and it's really interesting. I can see 4-week patterns, like 3 weeks of increase and a decrease. 4 weeks. It's really interesting in the real estate market, what we've been seeing, but it followed a very consistent pattern. And I thought, okay, I got my handle on this. I know how this is going to go. We're just going to keep growing and growing. Now, the bottom chart was 2019 is kind of the grayed out one. So it's the same as the orange on the top, right? It's that same kind of graph. And then COVID years, that 2020 blue chart. So we were coming fine here, January, February increasing. I was projecting about a 25% increase in March is what I was expecting. And we were flat because the first 2 weeks we were at a 30% increase. The last 2 weeks we were dropped. So it flattened out, and then boom, just April had to send everyone home kind of thing, right? As we recovered, May was all right. Then June, July, usually May is always our biggest month. Well, July was huge, right? And it kept continuing. And then we hit a ceiling. Like we were up at those numbers, but I had capacity problems. I couldn't do any more inspections last year. I didn't have enough guys. And we were turning business away, hitting that ceiling all the time. So that's when we started training some more guys, September, October, and get them trained over the winter to get ready for the next spring market. And I was right. When the spring market came, like we were 25, 30% again in January and February. And then March, I did like a 75% increase March over March. It was huge.
That's pretty great.
April, same thing, but then that real estate market got so hot. All of you guys kept coming down from Ontario and putting your prices way up, and then no one's putting inspections on, and our business went like this and it dipped down. It's not gone, but it went a little bit lower even than 2019 numbers in May, which was not what I was suspecting. I was expecting for it to continue to grow at that pace. We've always heard about the Toronto market and no inspections, but I just had my head in the sand. No, it's not going to happen here. But it's happened slightly. And, we talked to a lot of realtors about this situation, about, buyers buying without inspections. And we understand that there's reasons to do it. If you want to buy a property, well, sometimes you have to do that to get it, right? If you're in competition. The realtors, we're a bunch of nice, friendly people down here. We feel bad if someone buys something and they get screwed over because they have a problem that they didn't know about. The realtors, they're feeling bad. They're wishing some of their buyers get inspections because they know that they get educated when they get one. So they'll learn some stuff. So we've done a lot of thinking and talking at the office, and we strategize and brainstorm a lot. And we've come up with a new product we're putting out there called a homeowner consultation. To a realtor, I call it a post-sale inspection. So if they bought a house without an inspection because they needed to, okay, great. Well, why don't you call us and get us to come in and do the same process? What we're doing with those clients, we do things a little bit different because now they own the property. So we're going to send them a questionnaire first when we book the inspection. And here's a whole bunch of questions about your house that they can answer for us and help us direct our inspection when we get there. We'll actually include that in our report so it can be that nice homeowner's manual that they have down the road with all of their information in one place. We just know some of the good questions to ask them. If they've done any repairs, if they, what about a warranty on the roof, just that kind of stuff. We can get some information out. Now, for someone who just bought, they don't have all that info, but for a seller as well, we're doing this for a seller and a home buyer. And then we're going to come in and we're going to do the same inspection process, but our meeting time is going to be in the house, and it's going to be with the person who lives in the house now, right?
Yeah.
And our meeting time is going to be extended to an hour and a half now instead of an hour, and it's going to be all advice driven. It'll be all about advice on what to do. It's not protecting them from a transaction anymore. It's now advising them on consulting. It's a consultation on what they should do with their property and their house. And we'll give them, maybe they're going to ask about some renovation they're going to do, but my guy's going to be able to answer that because we're contractors. So we're trying to combat some of this downturn with some different services that can provide value to clients, I guess. And we're having some really good uptake on it. So what we're doing right now in July and August, if anyone books one of those homeowner consultations, we're dropping whatever the price is, because the price varies on home inspections, right? Depends on the size, age, location, complexity. Whatever the price is, we're taking $100 off for everyone who books in July and August for one of these homeowner consultations. And for a seller's inspection. So if someone's going to sell a house and they wanted to do an inspection up front, I believe that's the best thing that could ever happen to the real estate industry, is move the inspection from the wrong place to the right place in the transaction. I believe the inspection should be done by the seller every time before it's put on the market. And if it's done that way, I know your buyers, you guys as buyers are going to say, well, I don't know about that inspector because maybe he knew that seller. Well,
Yeah,
if I can
something,
buy a home back guarantee with that house, then you can be protected and sure, because that's what it works. The buyer home back guarantee stays with the house. So when I do one of these, goes with the house, now it's a marketing tool to sell the property. And I know I'm talking to buyers right now, but sometimes you guys are sellers too. So when you're a seller, how do you get the most money? Full disclosure selling. If you tell everyone everything that you fixed and what's done, you'll make that buyer feel really good, and you'll get more money for the house. You can show them an inspection report that you've done and all the repairs you've done, you'll get more money. And if there are multiple offers, they're going to put on paper a higher number than they would if they had. I'm not going to put the inspection, but geez, I got to get ready for $5,000 maybe that I might find on inspection. You know, they'll put that higher number on there. So I think it'll drive a better price for the seller over at the end of the day. And it'll smooth out every real estate transaction. There won't be a deal lost because of inspection ever again. You won't get into due diligence on a house because you already know about it before you put an offer, right? You already knew that it had some mold in the attic or asbestos that was remediated or not remediated. You already know about it.
Yeah, I really think, both of those ideas are going to revolutionize the entire industry. But what's your plan how are you going to educate, either the sellers or the buyers who just bought the property? I assume through the real estate agent or?
Yeah. So thank you for saying, because I really feel that. I feel strongly. We've talked about a lot at the office, and I really think it will revolutionize and change the industry. We've been trying to do it for a while, seller inspections, right? But I think the message wasn't right. So how I'm going to do this, I'm doing it through realtors. We're going to real estate agents. I can't give all of my secrets yet, but I have a web domain that I'm going to be using called alreadyinspected.ca that I own already. And we're developing the website now that will be hosting these reports so that a listing agent can say, hey, Martin, you want to look at 123 Main Street? Go to alreadyinspected.ca, go to 123 Main Street, and here's the password to unlock that report. And then you'll be able to unlock the PDF because you were given permission to enter it. We'll have that. We have sign riders to put on the signs, and we're gonna print out the report, put it on the table in a brochure, so that we're gonna give them the marketing material. But I'm doing it all through realtors. So yeah, my attack is through realtors. Now for the homeowner consultation, I'm doing that through realtors as well. I'm talking to all of our realtors on one-on-one right now. We're actually we have everyone at the office on the phones calling realtors and telling them about this stuff. We're trying to call all 900 realtors in the province of New Brunswick here in the next couple of weeks. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing webinars. I've been talking about it for a couple of months. I'm going to do a webinar every month, and I want to do one, and I want to talk to sellers directly. If they're thinking about selling in this hot market, that I would go to them and see if I can give them some advice because of my real estate knowledge and my inspection knowledge. And I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm not trying to get their listing. So it's an inspection. It's $500. It's not the end of the world. So I'm not trying to get a $10,000 commission here. It's just, I'm trying to give some advice, and I'm biased because it's my company, but yeah, it's the right thing too.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, no, even as a homeowner, right? Like I definitely have bought properties before without an inspection clause. And I just felt very uneasy, after I bought it. I'm like, I really have no idea what's wrong with the building, right? So I think having an inspector come in, it's almost like it's basically a contractor, but without any conflict of interest, because a contractor want to come in here, upsell you, whereas the inspector truly just has your interest at heart. And, there's no way that they can make any more money off you other than the inspection fees.
Yeah.
So I do think that's a very unique value proposition, and I really see that taken off too, Jeff.
And it's also for the peace of mind, honestly. Like we do purchase a lot of properties, and we're always ready to do the renovations, but we want to know what kind of renovations and how much it's going to cost us.
Yeah.
So when we go into a property without an inspection, it's usually scarier because we can find anything at any time. We can start renovating a bathroom and then realize there's a lot of leaks and realize there's mold everywhere, and we didn't know that, and that's additional cost on top of it. So just to buy that peace of mind, sometimes it's totally worth it. Absolutely.
For $500-$600, yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Hey, have you guys used that repair pricer thing yet? Have you used
The repair
that?
pricer, is that on the home binders?
No, the home binder is something that we give to everyone, but repair pricer, okay. Yeah, it might be something that might be of interest to you guys. It's something new that I came across it at one of the conferences. Again, one of these conferences I was at in the States. So it's a system that we can upload your inspection report to Repair Pricer. They put it through a computer system. They look at the summary page, and they know what home inspectors put in the reports, right? So when they see this they know this is the repair. This is the repair. They break it all down by everything in the summary, and they provide a new PDF, and it gives estimations, cost estimations on doing each line by line item. Now, the cool thing is they're out of Texas. They're actually from Ireland, but they live in Texas. One guy was a realtor, one guy was an inspector, one guy's a contractor. So they
There we go.
get together and built this. We're super smart guys. They're really, really cool guys, actually. And what they did is they have technology, they have computers that read this stuff, and then they geographically adjust their pricing on everything. So they do rolling phone calls all over North America to find out how much does it cost to replace a GFI in Chicago or in Moncton, and what the differences are. So then when we send it in from our location, the pricing is geographically adjusted based on where we are.
I love it.
Now,
yeah, sounds like that uses a lot of like automation too, right? Like natural language processing. You also need to mine all the data from the different prices in each market. That's wow, that's quite
the way they say it is they use AI and human AI. They use a human interface as well. So they put it through their computer system. Then every single report is reviewed by a retired contractor. He looks at it to make sure it makes sense, and then they send it off. 24-hour turnaround or less on an upload of a report. And I did an example. So one of my good realtor friends was in a situation. He had a sight unseen buyer from Ontario buying an older duplex in downtown Moncton. So there can be a shopping list on these things, right? You know, you get into an older property, there's lots of stuff. She was still very interested in the property, but wanted to know some numbers for budgeting reasons, maybe negotiations. I don't know, because we don't get into the negotiations part, other than providing some information to use. So when he called me, he said, "Listen, I got a hold of a local contractor. He can't go over to the house because he's so busy. They don't want to go, but he's going to look at the report and he's going to write down what it's going to cost to fix it for $300. It took him 3 days. It was on a scrap of loose leaf, just written out, line by line. And it totaled, I can't remember, it was like $24,600, okay, in repairs. I sent mine off to Repair Pricer, had it back in 18 hours. It's $99. That's what they charge. That's the service. Yeah. And they were off by $400 on 26 grand. Now, each line item, there was some differences there, but it's just for budgeting, right? It's not.
It gives you a general idea.
You're not hiring that company, but it was like bang. I was so impressed. Like 99% accuracy is what they're realizing. Yeah. Their goal is 90%, but they're realizing 95 to 99.
See, Jeff, that could be a great, obviously, as you know, that's a great company to partner up with, right? That could just all be a bundle, just send one of your inspectors in there. So no need to even send another contractor in, or even sub-trades, right? Like if there's a GC, they're going to have to subcontract out to an electrician, to a plumber.
You can add that on top. You provide them with the inspection report and also the estimate of the cost of how much it's going to cost them. That's definitely a
Jeff,
winning product for sure.
You're really up to something here.
I love it.
You're getting us so excited.
I like how you're excited. So the cool thing about the numbers that I have in the stats is when I look at our sales, I'm seeing 40% of the real estate market, which is bigger than any local real estate company. Most of them are 15 to 20% of the market because there's so many real estate companies, right? So I'm able to look at a bigger piece of the pie and see the clients. So what I decided to do, because I'm a numbers guy, I'm a math guy, I studied the area codes of our buyers. Now, I have to say that there's people that move from Alberta that don't change their phone number, okay? So there's some of that, but that's fine. It's just a rough idea. But one of the things I noticed when I was answering the phone before Katie came in, I kind of could notice how many people were coming from outside. I didn't do the math back then, but I'm going to do it. I don't have these numbers now, but these numbers are coming this year. My son is studying this stuff for me now, going back as far as 2016 to see what the numbers are. But I have to feel that in a normal market, the percentage of buyers from outside of the province would be on the smaller side, I guess. I don't know if normal is 15%, 20%. I don't know what that normal is, but certainly lower than what we're seeing in real life right now. So I was feeling a trend in our customers that, geez, we're dealing with more and more people that aren't in New Brunswick. We're more and more people that aren't in New Brunswick. So I started studying it. So the graph here is what I did. So between July and December of 2019, so it's before COVID, we had about 36% of the buyers were not from New Brunswick, right? So that's the green. So the green is the non-New Brunswick phone numbers. The blue is the New Brunswick. Then the next 6 months, January to June of 2020, so that's half COVID, half not COVID, it was same number, 36% not from 506. Well, then when we get into the COVID recovery, so from July to December of 2020, it climbed to 42% all of a sudden. So 42% of all the buyers we're dealing with not from New Brunswick. Then January of 2021, it was 48%. February was 53%, and March was 54%. So you can see the climb of the green just keeps climbing. Those are non-506 buyers. So that's what's happening in our market. You guys are helping us because you're all coming here because you finally realize what a good deal we are down here.
Absolutely.
We finally got through to everyone. I remember being a realtor and saying, come on, we're a great place to invest when people weren't coming. But now they're all here. So what that's done is, of course, there's more demand. So it increases supply and demand, increases your pricing. But what it also does is if you have 15% of the population coming from outside, 85% when we buy as a New Brunswicker, we're selling too. So we're creating inventory when we buy and sell stuff. But when people come in from outside of the province, they eat inventory. So our inventory levels drop drastically, and that helped to spike up demand as well, because now it's not being replaced, right? So it stands to reason that our market got so hot, and it's still hot. We've seen some segments slow a little bit. We've seen a little bit of uptake back on inspections again. So we're seeing some of that, but it's still very, very hot for a real estate market. But it's really interesting. And I'm going to do this monthly and go back like to 2015. And then I'll have a really cool graph that I can show you on the next
Oh
call.
yeah, please do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely want to see that.
But see, like this is we really think this is a phenomenal approach, especially coming from the perspective of an inspection company, right? And to our listeners as well, like this should really give you a good idea of what kind of company Cottage to Castle is. Like, I bet your inspector is not doing that. Like, this is classic Jeff Leblanc Cottage to Castle approach.
I love it.
Yeah, I absolutely love this approach.
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. I'm a little bit of a numbers geek for sure. So I love the data.